Hey guys, honestly I'm still currently thinking about what to do for a good intro. But as normal, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video. Today I got about 11 new mods today that might just be worth adding to your ever-growing mod list. Just in case you already have 4,000 mods and we're looking to add even more. And maybe even 5,000 because I don't think any list has hit that yet. So if you end up enjoying this video, make sure you hit that like button down below and maybe subscribe. But if not, I hope you all end up enjoying this video either way, and make sure you endorse mod authors because they really deserve it. But without further ado, let's dive right in. First mod up is a new female only armor mod with the name Rat HCT SMP. This is a craftable light armor that is also highly modular. Every piece can be unequipped, so it can be very skimpy. I mean, not that the fully clothed version isn't skimpy also. But honestly, the main reason I'm even showcasing this is because it looks pretty amazing with the details applied to every part of this armor. And it does come with a pretty cool looking tail that also has its own HDT. I first showcased this armor without the tail and hair so you could focus on the clothing parts. I figured that might be a little distracting with the tail flowing everywhere. But this armor has two variants, but only in body slot. One has HDT and the other doesn't for a performance reason. To obtain this armor, all you have to do is go to the Radiant Raiment and find the item placed by this mod. It's pretty simple, or you can just use an add item menu like me. Also, a quick disclaimer, this armor can be a little heavy when it comes to physics, so if you have a lower end PC, mileage may vary. Up next, a new NPC overhaul, but just for the nameless NPCs this time. This mod is called Pan's Nameless Witches. This mod replaces all NPCs with the name witch or the class of a witch, if you happen to be using a name replacer like I usually am. And because it is Pandorable, they all look really amazing honestly. This might get expanded on in the future, but as of right now, of course there isn't thousands of variants, so you might run into the same one a few times. But I do believe it's worth it because it's rare to find a mod that actually touches NPCs that are killable. Even though there aren't many variants of witches that are male variant, there are over 20. Witches aren't really that abundant in Skyrim anyway, so you really shouldn't have any issues of fighting twins at the same time. The best part about this mod though is the fact that it doesn't require any other mod besides a good looking skin replacer. Plug-in plays are always the best kind of mods. But up next, another simple mod. This mod is called Follower Dialogue Expansion Faendal. This one is a very simple one because Faendal is already recruitable as a follower, so you don't have to worry about your immersion being broken. But this mod instead adds more dialogue to him about his past and how he ended up living in Riverwood. To get to this dialogue though, you do have to complete his and Sven's quest first, and then the extra options will appear. So I assume that Sven will be next for the follower dialogue expansion since Faendal was just done. But here's some dialogue so you can see firsthand what you'll be getting with this mod.
But my family moved to Skingrad eventually. The Thalmor weren't exactly benevolent rulers, you see. Not that the Emperor was a saint, but at least he didn't confiscate the wealth of anyone he disliked. At least back when we moved. I remember the trees, a few faces.
Try not to put too many spoilers in that, just in case you wanted to try it yourself. Up next, a new follower mod called Daedric Individuals. Unlike the previous follower mod, this one adds 3 new followers to your game, all with very unique looks and fighting styles to fit them. They may look different honestly, but they all have normal races such as Imperial or Nord. I guess they were just born special. This is a very simple mod though. They react during quests and while fighting, but there's no special quest tied to them. You can just recruit them. They don't have any special clothing either. In my opinion, they're closer to Skyrim mercenaries. You just walk up to them, talk to them, and just say, follow me, I need your help. But I do recommend bringing some armor for them because otherwise they just use normal prison clothing or just farmhand clothing. And that could be a little boring. Unlike me though, I don't have any armor mods unfortunately. Up next, a new replacer mod, but instead a massive texture replacer called Tomatoes, Caves, and Mines. Tomato recently just released a cave and mine retexture that completely changes the feel of them, adding new parallax for almost no FPS costs. Well, I guess that kinda depends on your PC because anything can cost you. But for me, I didn't have any FPS drops. But instead I was given a retexture without having every rock look stretched to oblivion. And if you mod Skyrim, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is one of those subtle retextures that you kinda forget you have, Then as you're randomly exploring, testing your Modlist, you just stop and realize just how great the parallax on this retexture is. Or at least that's what happens to me, and that's generally how I get my screenshots. And when the lighting hits just right with this retexture, it just looks amazing, and that's probably the main reason why I'll be keeping this. One thing I want to point out though is that this retexture does not touch the wood inside of caves. Well, the stockade wood inside of caves I believe it's called. Instead, that is left vanilla, so we'll use whatever retexture you're using. And honestly, I kind of forgot what I'm using, but it definitely has a rustic look to it. Up next, another texture replacer, but for a kind of forgotten item, the egg sacs. This mod is called Spider Eggs and Sacs Replacer. This mod, by the title, you know exactly what it does. It replaces the sacs of spiders and the eggs that they pop out of. Honestly, this retexture made them look like the little wombs that facehuggers pop out of in Aliens, and I think that just intensifies my fear of spiders in Skyrim. And also, the texture resolution on these spider sacs aren't really that amazing or high, I assume for performance reasons, but if you aren't diving face first into it, it should look great. Also, how long do you think a xenomorph would survive in Skyrim? Up next, a location overhaul for Autumnshade. This mod is called Lore Friendly Autumnshade. It's a very simple overhaul, adding Nordic ruins to the place, as well as new creatures and NPCs to the area that will fight you if provoked. This isn't a massive overhaul, but it's enough to the point you will definitely notice the changes immediately. Honestly, before this mod, I didn't even know about this area until I found this mod. So it's definitely a welcome addition in my load order. With all these new location overhauls, I'm definitely going to need to start combining something. Because the next mod is called Lore Friendly Clearpine Pond, by the same mod author of course, overhauling another location that is not very well known in Skyrim, at least not to me. This overhaul is definitely bigger than the previous, adding more ruins to this location, as well as placing more miscellaneous items around the pond. Just for cosmetic reasons though, none of this is going to add a new quest. This is just meant to make Skyrim not such a boring place. Of course, a few more were done by this mod author, but I didn't want to make this video about them. So next up, we have a new mod overhauling the Dragon Bridge Overlook. This mod is called Distinguished Dragon Bridge Overlook by FuzzBeed. They're like a comic book writer making the first letters match. But this mod, as you can see, is a pretty massive overhaul of the Dragon Bridge Overlook. This is one of the first Forsworn locations that you can find, provided you didn't run the Mark Hearth at level 5 and die to everything. And now it has been massively overhauled to look closer to a Nordic ruin, which is what Forsworn usually take residency in. Of course, with the new location overhaul means new enemies, so you'll have to be careful when approaching this location now. Or maybe you're just built different and could be Hag Ravens at level 5. And just one more location overhaul mod, we have an interior mod called Tim's Houses, Olava the Feeble. This mod, as you can tell at first glance, really expands on the fact that this is an NPC's home, and also the fact that Olava is a psychic or medium. I'm unsure if there's a difference. It doesn't really massively overhaul the location, turning it into a mansion, but the changes were big enough that this isn't even the same cell. It was given a new one, so if you're trying to teleport inside of Olava's home from the main menu like I did, you will be inside of a broken interior and unable to leave. And now for the last mod of today, a new combat mod. This mod is called Weapon Skills Remake. This mod has 4 new power-based skills in your game. They require you to have a one-handed weapon, sword, axe, or anything, really doesn't matter, and to be unarmed in the other hand. And all you have to do is equip the power and activate it. And then you'll be able to see how cool these skills are in action. They are very flashy and definitely fits the theme of high medieval fantasy that Skyrim aims to be. I think sometimes people try and make Skyrim too realistic without realizing how much fantasy themed it is, because if Bethesda had the work ethic and budget, it would definitely have skills just like this. The only part I want to point out though is that these skills can feel a little overpowered. There's not much cooldown to them, about 10 to 15 seconds, and they don't really cost anything to use, because they are powers and not really magic. Of course, you can't just spam them, and while you're using the skill, you can be attacked as well because it will make you stand still. So it's best to time these rather than just using them at any time and flipping all over the place like a Power Ranger. These are given as soon as you join game, so no quest or anything is needed to have fun with this. So it will seem a little strong early game, but for reference, the only thing I was able to one-shot with these skills is wolves. so they will get stronger as you get stronger, but don't expect to be overpowered early game, or expect to kill giants in one hit. But I do like how flashy these skills are. But that was it for today, guys. Last video was about 17 mods or so I kept this one a little shorter. If you end up enjoying, make sure you hit that like button down below. Otherwise, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.